Let's have a look at the market this morning, guys. See what's going on. Good morning. Good morning. BTC holding 51.3, looking juicy, guys. Another leg up later today, I'm sure. JASMY holding support. Miria's pumping. It looks like a good day across the board. Couple of DCA opportunities, but nothing major out there really. All right, let's have a look at this first. SEC, we're going to have a look at Gary and Elizabeth Warren today. SEC's approval of Bitcoin ETFs not a nod to Ethereum, says Gensler. In a recent interview with CNBC, SEC Chairman Gary Gensler stated plainly that the recent decision on the regulator to approve spot Bitcoin ETFs does not mean that a similar fate is expected for Ethereum-based products. This clarification comes in the wake of speculation and optimism within the financial and crypto world that the SEC approval of the Bitcoin ETFs could lead to Ethereum ETFs. In the view of Gensler, highlighted the merit agnostic approach of the SEC. He said, "What we did in January was combined to one set of filings." Sorry, cabined. He also explained that the approval of Bitcoin ETFs does not translate to an approval for Bitcoin itself, reiterating that the actions of the SEC are based on abundance of compliance and regulatory standard rather than preference towards a specific cryptocurrency. SEC's recent approval attracted the interest of prominent financial firms, including Franklin Templeton, Fidelity, and BlackRock, that have filed applications for Ethereum ETFs. Their optimism, however, is based on the Bitcoin ETF's approval. Gensler remarks implied the regulatory challenges and the independent evaluation process which each submission has to go through. Markets are rife with conversions that finally an ETF for Ethereum shall be approved, and some experts even hint of a positive answer even in May. Nevertheless, Gensler's careful comments imply that the SEC does not want to expand its approval of the crypto ETFs without proper discussions and debate amongst its commission. Notwithstanding the uncertain future of the Ethereum ETF, SEC approval of Bitcoin's ETF is an important landmark in the integration of cryptocurrencies with the mainstream financial products. This is something that investors have been waiting for with eagerness and adds an alternative way to access digital assets. The view of analysts on this issue is split, where some of them maintain high levels of optimism with respect to the possible approval of an Ethereum ETF. They compare the process and subsequent approval of the Bitcoin ETF, implying that such a development is possible for Ethereum as well. But some others warn of high expectations in advance, referring to the SEC's scrupulous style of law enforcement and all the requirements for Ethereum products to conform to the already established standards. The SEC stance on cryptocurrency ETFs is a crucial barometer for the broader acceptance and institutionalization of digital assets. While the approval of Bitcoin ETFs has opened the door, Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies face their own unique challenges in gaining regulatory approval for similar products. As the landscape evolves, the financial industry and the crypto community will be closely watching the SEC's decisions. These will not only impact the immediate prospects for Ethereum ETFs, but also set precedents for how other digital assets might be integrated into the regulatory financial system. So, guys, there's a couple things here that I would disagree with, and I mean, like, listen, if Gary wants to go ahead, they say that there's obstacles that each individual crypto has to go through for an ETF approval. Not really. Yes, but not really. Okay. At the end of the day, when you really boil it down, and this is what a court's going to do, the same way they did with the Bitcoin ETF, is that the SEC does not have a valid reason to deny an Ethereum spot ETF. If Gary wants to choose to go through court again, just like he did with Grayscale the first time with Bitcoin, and get his ass kicked again, but this time it's not just going to be Grayscale. The other institutions have already said they're ready to launch their lawsuits now, right? So if Gary goes ahead and starts denying all of these Ethereum ETFs without a valid reason, the same way they used to be denying the Bitcoin ETFs, he's going to get slapped in the face with about 6 or 7 lawsuits. He's going to lose every single one of them. How's that going to make him look? Right? And I know. At this point, does Gary Gensler even care what he really looks like? Because he looks like a piece of garbage. I really don't know how this man can go home, sit at the dinner table with his wife and daughters, look them in the eye, and have confidence that they can respect him as a man based on what he's done as a human being to other people. He's hurt a lot of families, right? So I don't know how he can do that. I don't know how he can look his wife in the eye and with any kind of self-respect and not be ashamed of himself. But that's just me. Some people don't have souls. I don't know, right? Uh, but kind of moving along here, I wanted to show you something from Stuart Alderati just to give you a better example of how Gary Gensler's thought process still is working here. So Stuart Alderati says, on Tuesday, Gensler told an audience at Yale law students that the SEC is following the law, but its challenge is with the courts that shift their interpretations of the law. Was Tuesday opposite day? Gary's quote, I think we're doing everything according to the law and how the court interprets the law, Gensler said. And as the courts shift their interpretation, jobs like mine are both more challenging and more interesting. It's kind of thinking about where are the courts in 2024? Where might they be in 2025, 2026, interpreting these matters of administrative authority? So basically, what Gary is saying here, right, to the public, to law students, to everyone that will listen, his latest excuse for getting his ass kicked in court is, well, he's not wrong. The SEC's not wrong, right? They're sticking to the law. The court's interpretation of the law has changed. That's what it is. It's not that Gary's wrong in what he's doing, it's the courts that are wrong, right? They're just changing, the judges are just changing the understandings of the laws, and Gary's just sticking to what the laws used to be, right? That's just what it is. So it's not his fault. It's the court's fault because the judges are moving the goalpost, right? That's what it is. Can you sense the sarcasm in my voice, guys? This guy is a complete and utter, uh, like Tony Edwards says, scumbag regulator. 100% agree with Tony on that. From Thinking Crypto, 100%. Gary's a piece of garbage, in my opinion. And we're going to end it with good old Tom Emmer. Let's have a look at what's going on today.
Chair, I want to thank Chairman McHenry for holding this important hearing today. And
this is, by the way, this is his subtle approach at Elizabeth Warren and her falsification of information and statistics on crypto being used to fund and money launder. Fund, you know what, the T word, and money laundering. So let's have a listen.
I want to thank you, all of our witnesses, or our witnesses, for your testimony. On October 10th, 2023, the Wall Street Journal reported that between August 2021 and June 2023, Hamas received 41 million in digital assets, and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad received 93 million in digital assets. Undersecretary Nelson, is this Treasury's assessment too? Because the world's leading blockchain analytics firms have called this a misinterpretation of the data, and that the amount that any terrorist might have received is significantly smaller.
Thank you for that question, Congressman. Yes, I think that assessment largely tracks with our own. The numbers noted in the Wall Street Journal piece talked about wallets, but not necessarily the sort of disaggregated among the wallets customers.
It's assets that people had in their wallets as opposed to what was specifically going to the Palestinian Islamic Jihad and
Hamas. That's most likely. And we also assess that terrorists still prefer, frankly, to use traditional products and services. But this is something that we are obviously monitoring very closely.
And I appreciate that. How much do you think actually got into the hands of Hamas or the Palestinian Islamic Jihad?
I think we can have a classified conversation about precise numbers or expectations. I think we have done and both Hamas and the PIDGE a good job at identifying the virtual asset service providers that they've relied on and the financial facilitators that they have historically relied on that would tend to use virtual assets. So we don't expect the number is very high, particularly.
I'd love to take you up on that because I sent a letter with several other members right after this erroneous Wall Street Journal report asking for specific information. So we'll take you up on that offer. Undersecretary Nelson, you said that digital assets are not the preferred means of terrorist financing, but I want to be clear, digital assets were not even a popular tool for Hamas or the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, correct?
I think that's correct. And one of the reasons that is because our work with our counterparts in Israel prior to October 7th.
I'll give you credit for that, but I'm going to reclaim my time because I really want to make just a record here because regardless, to be clear, Hamas is using crypto in relatively small amounts compared to what's been widely reported. That's correct.
That's our assessment. Yeah.
Does Treasury have a responsibility to correct the record here? And perhaps this is involving some of the classified information you're talking about. Because I understand that, like today, with FinCEN, Treasury has acknowledged that digital assets are not the preferred financial product for terrorists, but Treasury has the data to paint the correct narrative of crypto and how it's used. And instead, we have senators who are legislating on these false figures and major CEOs using these figures to inform their perspectives on digital assets. Sure, we can go to chain analysis and use their third-party reporting, but Treasury already has the data. So doesn't Treasury have a responsibility to correct the record here?
And we put out a number of reports on illicit finance risks in the context of virtual assets. And I think we have clearly stated, while there is not a significant uptake that we perceive currently, that it is an area of opportunity that we know terrorist groups could use. And we have seen some, not Hamas necessarily, but other terrorist organizations, particularly focused on the ability to use crypto to move their finance.
I appreciate that, but I'm talking about the misinformation that the Wall Street Journal has suggested and that certain senators are doing, trying to base legislation on that would literally destroy innovation in this country. And I take it that you don't have a position then as to whether Treasury has an obligation to correct this record with the data that they have. It seems to me that they would. I want to thank you and your colleague.
So basically what he's saying here, if you don't get it, is Elizabeth Warren is running an entire election campaign on misinformation when her Treasury actually knows the real numbers and statistics, but is falsifying them to run a campaign on them. And what he's saying is the Treasury not responsible to actually correct this and give actual accurate information that would actually destroy Elizabeth Warren's whole campaign on her anti-crypto campaign that she's running, right? So and I agree. He needs. I like that he's underscoring and underlining this false narrative that she's running an election on, because we cannot continue in the United States or in Canada to elect our officials based on information we know that they're providing us is wrong, is inaccurate to begin with. Why would you vote for someone who's right from the hop, from the election part of their term, their next term? You know that they're lying to you. what makes you think they're not going to continue to lie to you when they're in office? You need to start thinking about this stuff when you're casting your votes, people. I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm not telling you who not to vote for. I'm just telling you to use your brain. If somebody is outright blatantly lying to you in their campaign, is that someone you can trust in office? I don't think so. Hit the like button, guys. Hit the subscribe button. Join the member side if you want to support the channel. It's only $4, guys. It really, really helps the channel. It helps us continue to be able to do our research and put these videos out for you guys, to get all of the guests on that we have, the interviews, the collaborations, everything that we do. It really helps. So click the join button for that. You also get members only content, guys, microcap gems, members only live streams on Sundays. So definitely check that out. Join the Discord because it's free. And check out LBank, the channel sponsor. Do your spot leverage and copy trading. No KYC required. I'll see you guys in the next one.